Hey guys, Paul here with Late Night Games, and I know I said I'd release the vlog either Monday or Wednesday or Sunday, and I was going to release it yesterday, but I had the flu. I had the flu hardcore. Like, I couldn't speak. I had no voice. Today is the first day with my angelic voice being returned to me, so it's the first day I was able to actually talk to you guys. It's also why I haven't been doing any recording or anything along those lines. I did message saying I was sick, but that was about all I could do. I literally had no voice since, last week. Anywho, first off, why am I dressed up? Why do I have a tie on? Because I'm trying to get used to it again. I, for reasons, have to wear a suit on Saturday, and I want to be comfortable in it before I have to wear it, driving for an hour and a half. Reasons. And besides, everyone can look dapper every now and again. Suit shopping's expensive, by the way. So, I promised last week I would answer a bunch of questions from Twitter. But before that, there's one thing I have to tell you guys. I discovered it maybe 10 minutes ago, and it blew my mind. And this was Sailor Moon is coming out again. Yeah, Sailor Moon. Literally, Sailor Moon. Remember Sailor Moon? That the whole thing with the fighting evil by moonlight thing? Yeah. I grew up with this show. I adored these characters. I'll be the first to admit it. Yes, it's a little bit pedophilic now, looking back at it at my age now, but it was still an amazing show at the time. I absolutely adored it. They had the formula down pat. Now, we don't know much about what's going on yet. There's probably more out there, but since I've only heard about this 10 minutes ago, I have very limited information. Here's what I know so far. First off, due to be released summer of 2013, it has been pushed back to winter of 2014. That's why we haven't seen anything out yet. This is not going to be a continuation after the Sailor Stars series. This is going to be a complete reboot. Whether it starts right from the beginning or not, I don't know. It is a reboot of the franchise, however. They may take it a totally different direction. They may just re-envision the current storyline. I don't know. But it has been announced that this is a reboot. Where's it coming out first? Everywhere. This is scheduled to have a worldwide release. What that means, I don't know. Maybe it'll be streamed digitally. I'm not 100% sure there, I just know they're announcing it is going to be a worldwide release. And the new theme song is going to be sung by a group named Mamoru Clover Z. I probably butchered that, so I'll put the spelling of it here, but that's the group that's going to be singing the new theme song for it. What it's going to sound like, I have no idea, but I'm looking forward just to see what they do with the series. It was a great series with a great formula, but it'd be like rebooting Ninja Turtles. There have been good reboots and there have been bad reboots. I'm interested to see how it goes. Now, as I said last week, being as I'm horrible with Twitter and had no idea that people were actually sending me messages when they were, I went back and read all of my old messages and found some questions asked by an individual out there for my last Q&A video that I completely missed. So, I'm going to answer them this week. These questions have all been asked by RavenValor95, and I'm going to answer them one after the other, starting with the first one. What's the sequel to a game you were hyped for, but got let down for? And I'm not allowed to say DNF or ME3. I'm guessing ME3 is Mass Effect 3. I don't know what DNF stands for, I'll be honest. A sequel to a game that ended up letting me down. If you asked me this question a week ago, I probably would have said Grand Theft Auto 5. When it first came out and I first picked it up, I was a little disappointed with the beginning of the game. It took a while for me to actually get into the game. It was so overhyped, and they gave so much that it just I didn't feel it was all there. I mean, so seldom in the main story are you actually able to just perform heists at random. I wish you could just call up the guys and schedule your own heist, and you didn't have to wait for the story to give you a heist. They did mention that heists will also be available in the online. I haven't seen that yet because the online system has been a little buggy, but we'll see where that's going. However, as I said, had you asked me a week ago, it's because while playing the Grand Theft Auto 5 main single-player story and getting further into it, I am starting to fall more for it, and I am starting to warm up to it, so it's no longer something I'm considering my most disappointing. So my most disappointing sequel to a video game, while it's not quite a sequel, it is a sequel in the franchise, and that's Final Hallway 14. I've expressed this in the past with Squaresoft and what they've done and what hurt my brain. For some reason, Final Fantasy XIII, the storyline just couldn't catch me. None of the characters were really likable. They made a sequel to it because people like the characters so much, and I don't understand how. I couldn't find any of these characters even remotely likable, so I don't know where people came to actually get a sequel to it. Maybe because a lot of people bought it before they realized what happened, so Squaresoft was like, hey, look, lots of sales, we'll make a sequel. I don't know where Squaresoft was going with this. Both copies made a ton of money, otherwise they wouldn't have released the Final Fantasy XIII 3, which I think they're in the works of, or releasing, or already released. I don't know. I haven't played a Final Fantasy game since. it just completely killed the franchise for me. That was the end of it. I haven't played one since. I'm sure there are great ones coming out and great ones out there now. I just haven't been exposed to them. And my love and my desire to play everything Final Fantasy kind of died a little that day when I played Final Hallway 13. Is there a genre of games you cannot get into no matter how hard you try? You know what I can't get into? Sports games. To be specific, football. Like American football. I tried playing one when I was younger, and I've tried playing one since, like NFL Blitz and whatnot. I just cannot get into sports games. Hockey games I'll play from time to time. Back in the day, I used to love Blades of Steel, mostly for the fighting more than the hockey. And also, there was a baseball game for Super Nintendo where you were robots playing baseball, and some were hover bots, and they were faster, and some were jump bots, and some were big, bulky bots. There was the back zone, which was a super jump zone, so you jump super high to catch. That was kind of cool, but that was because it was robots, and I like robots. I haven't really ever been able to get into sports games. God knows I've tried. I've played enough of them, and there's been the odd game that does something wacky, and I end up falling in love with it. But it's only the really wacky sports games. The straight, bare bones, straightforward, I'm a sports game playing the sports characters as they are in the sports world, I've never been able to get into. Reboots are becoming more common in the passing years. Do you think this is a good thing, bad thing, or why? I don't know. I'm on the fence there, because while a reboot can bring a new, fresh light to a franchise, bring it back into the foreground, bring it to a new generation, and make it something great. Look at all the different reboots of the Batman various series. Like when Batman changed the animated series in the middle of Season 3 to Season 4, it was a reboot with the same bloody crew and the same bloody people behind it. Like, a reboot is just a new way to explore something. But a reboot can be horrible. Look at the new Devil May Cry reboot. I absolutely hate what they did to the character of Dante. Like, I just can't stand what they did to Dante. They made him such a pansy. But it is a new look on it, and it does attract new audiences. I mean, heck, if you reboot Twilight, you might get a better love story than Twilight. I mean, who knows? I'm never going to be one that says a reboot should never happen, because in the right hands, a reboot can be a great thing and can bring new life to an already beloved franchise. I just wish that developers would be a little more careful with their reboots, understand the source material, and try to make sure that their reboot, while being a fresh start to the source material, still holds enough true to be recognizable to the source material by more than just a name. Either way, I like them. I like the fact that we have the ability to go back to something and redo it. I just wish a little more care was taken sometimes. What games have exceeded your expectations on how good you thought they were going to be? This one's a really easy one for me to answer, and that would be the newest SimCity game. Not because I looked at the previews and thought it would be horrible, but because of all the negative hype about the DRM and the always online access and all this other stuff. The same reasons why everyone was against Xbox One, and the same reason everyone loves the new Steam family sharing. And anyways, with SimCity, there was so much bad press and so much from people about server issues and inability to save games and all this other negative stuff that when I finally sat down to play it, I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't run into any of the other problems other people ran into, probably because I waited about a week and a half before actually playing it, but I enjoy it. I like to sit down with SimCity every once in a while and just muck around for a bit. I did one on my stream with Dave from Late Night Games. His wife has a copy of it, so he was playing on his wife's account, I was playing on mine, and we had a grand old time. It's not a horrible game. Had I wished they made the worlds a little bigger and added a little more to it? Yeah. Had it been nice to have a single player mode? Yeah, sure. But for all in all, it's not a bad game. It's actually really enjoyable to play, and I can't say anything really that bad about it. When you are upset or angry, what do you do to calm yourself down or make yourself feel better? I drive. When I am angry, I drive. When I'm sad, I drive. When I'm bored, I drive. When I'm stressed out because work's driving me crazy, or a game's driving me crazy, or people are driving me, I drive. Driving is my biggest stress release. That or working on my car. Those two things combined easily reduce all the stress in my mind. A thing I used to turn to for stress a lot is drinking, and there will be the odd night where I will decide I'm not going to drive. I'm going to catch a cab to the club that I go to frequently, and I'm going to have a good old drink. That's not the best way to do it, but sometimes it's nice to do with friends, as long as you do it within moderation. But primarily, my biggest stress relief that I can go to rely on any day, 24/7, is driving. Which makes it exceptionally difficult when the cause of my stress is my car not working, because then I'm all like, I can't drive, but I need to drive. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Anyways, driving is definitely my stress release. What is your least favorite sequel to a movie and why? Oh no, there are a lot of movies out there that have really bad sequels. So I can't really think offhand what my least favorite is. But just going off the cuff here, I would have to say my least favorite is the third Ninja Turtles movie. And the reason why, Ninja Turtles Lost in Time, or whatever it was called, I liked Ninja Turtles. The original movie was awesome. And the second Ninja Turtles movie, The Secret of the Ooze, not as awesome. I mean, it had Super Shredder, and it had Rancor and whatever the other two dudes' name. No, Rancor is from Star Wars. The two mutant villains, and Super Shredder, which was awesome. And Vanilla Ice with the ninja rap. Fucking best Vanilla Ice song ever. But the third one just really didn't have anything to me that redeemed it. I mean, they were in the ancient China, and that was cool, or were they in ancient Japan? I can't remember. They were samurai, so ancient Japan, and that was really cool and all, but the turtles looked like they had some weird disease. The modeling on them was horrible. They made them all different shades of green. In the first one, they looked similar, which they're supposed to. They're brothers. I guess they were only raised as brothers, but they're the same breed of turtle. Why would they have... I mean, yeah, people have different colors of skin and whatnot, but they made the turtles so drastically different in the third movie than the first two that it didn't even look like it was the same franchise. It looked like a reboot of the series. It just wasn't really good. And I'm not even going to get into that animated BS movie, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie that came out, because that was just complete garbage and made no sense whatsoever. But I'm not even going to consider that a sequel. I consider that a reboot. And that's an example of where a reboot can go wrong, back to one of our earlier questions. But guys, that's it for the questions I have on this list from Raven Valor 95. Thank you very much for those questions, my friend. And I will see you guys next time. Take care.